Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterlands universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Pretoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
Send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode. This week, you guys are getting a little bit of a doubleheader. We got a guest we're welcoming back for round two. We were just talking off air. It's been 6 months. Feels like just yesterday we had him on. Got some exciting updates from the mind of Games on the Block. Welcome back, GB. Always great to see you, man.
Hey, hello, welcome. Oh, thank you for having me again. I'm already confused. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Glad you could jump back on with us. Really interested to hear, what you have going on, what you've been working on.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We've been doing, it was 6 months, but yeah, we've done quite a lot. On Splinterlands, and we have our own games where we have a pre-sale going on, have many ideas cooking and actually get implemented.
Yeah, let's talk about OKKO. So last time we had you on, you were talking about all these potential various projects that you had kind of sitting on the shelf, and you've obviously taken this one in particular off the shelf and run with it. The game is OKKO. OKKO. You just mentioned, it's in pre-sale at the moment. I think if you go to on PeakD, GamesOnTheBlock -OKKO, is that the correct username there?
Yeah, so we're posting. There is the community Games on the Block there on Hive. The account making the posts now we're separating from, because the Games on the Block is the main thing, and then there is a GotB-OKKO is the one posting the OKKO stuff. Yeah, so OKKO is the main game that we're focusing in now. It's not the only thing that we're doing, but it's the main focus now. It's a auto battle card game, and yeah. The reason we decided to focus on it is because we can test all these ideas, we can leave the theory now, and almost everything that we have for Web3 and Web3 gaming in general, we can now we have this test ground to play with, and it's turning out pretty good. Really excited to show. There are some videos where we're gonna ramp up with the more on the media side now, and glad we're here on the podcast to a good example of that.
Yeah, thanks for having us, GB. It'll be good to
yeah. No, yeah, man. I know, we were on here, you were talking so much about how you were, looking at a lot of Web3 games and trying to develop your own. So, could you tell us about the game and sort of, what inspiration did you take, or what aspects of it do you feel that are really important that you know you looked at everything and tried to find what people were doing wrong to kind of get a really good decentralized game and get it right. So kind of love to hear the theory on that.
Yeah, so I don't think it's what people are doing wrong, because I'm arrogant, but not that arrogant to say my idea is the correct one, everyone else is wrong. I'm just trying to present different ideas, right? They might still fail, but I think they're I don't know, like novel enough that they should be out there. But there are so many like small ideas working together, right? So it's difficult. It's not like you can uh, go to some other crypto project and try to implement just one tiny idea. Like normally, like they're all doing their own thing, right? Actually, that's one of the things I was thought the most is like, why do my own project, right, and not join an existing project? And that was the main reason, right? Because like I just need to test. I mean, I kind of tried a little bit of not necessarily joining projects, but let's say like voicing ideas. So, for example, I did that with Splinterlands, with other crypto games, with different blockchains. When I was working as well in the market making, the crypto market making, I could voice my ideas, but they didn't necessarily uh, they didn't get implemented or even get like a fair chance, I would say. And I don't think it was not just it's not because the idea was bad or because the people running the project thought the idea was bad. It was just because like it was just not a priority. It was not like the super fitting of what they wanted to do. So in this example, the Splinterlands, right? Like, so for example, I gave the idea about like how to solve bots. I don't know. I didn't get any uh, feedback, or the team didn't reach out to me. And again, like I think that's fine. Like I know what Matt is doing. Like Matt has his own thing with the new player experience and is completely focused on that. And actually, I think he should be. So, but anyway, so I think it's good that we have our uh, own project and our own games now that we can showcase that to everybody, instead of just being this theory, right? So like people can actually see, and well, if it works, like great, like people can copy now. The whole thing is open anyway. So
Well, that's kind of the main thing, right? Like I feel like, people really started to pay attention to GB once you started posting these ideas around how do we improve the experience, how do we improve specifically the human experience, what mechanics on the game design can we start to tweak and crank up or dial down in order to maximize the fun and fairness for something. Splinterlands was the platform that you came up with a lot of these ideas for. And I feel like Web3 in general is just kind of this giant melting pot of exchanging ideas, right? So a lot of that stuff I'm sure that you've worked in on to some degree for OKKO and some of the other projects that I know there's at least one other game listed on your website. And you're exactly right, man. Like I know that Matt specifically has come out and said, he's always looking at other Web3 games to see what's working, what isn't working, how can we incorporate the things that are working into Splinterlands. So maybe this is actually a better route to getting your ideas across the table for, somebody like Matt and co to pick up and run with, is by setting the precedent of, these ideas working successfully in a different game, and which happens to be OKKO.
yeah, I think you are right. And like now, if you can actually show, I think one idea that I kind of have, it's probably coming out this week. Like I'm making a video because one mode on OKKO is a PvE mode, right? Which is like single player. You don't need to, and free to play. You don't need to put any money, and you can actually win crypto rewards, right? I mean, not right now. We're still like in alpha. The rewards are not fully rolled out yet, but it will pretty soon. But for example, that would be something that Splinterlands could implement, or the DAO could implement now with the DAO going a lot more proposals of like the DAO actually like stepping up and like paying people and doing things. Could just show like, look, like this is the PV mode. This is exactly how it would be implemented. This is how long it took. Let's say it took me to implement. Like, and this is the things that you need. It would take around this time. It would cost like you need to pay like one guy around this much, and then that's something that the DAO could go and do. Like, okay, like that might be worth like let's try it. And if you want to try, actually, like you just go in OKKO and see if it's working or not. Like, see if it's fun or not. Like the game, OKKO is similar enough to Splinterlands that that some ideas like can be translated to, right? So yeah, I kind of want to, I mean, there are some ideas that don't I don't think Splinterlands should take at all, but even if it's not about the game per se, like just about like this like shared infrastructure, right? Or these shared problems that everybody is trying to tackle and no one really knows the solution. I'll give one example from your podcast. I think the Real Wolf, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, he was talking about like the crypto stigma and everything. And actually, that's something I experienced as well. Was yeah, just how do you deal with these two sides, right? Because like you have traditional gamers where they absolutely hate crypto. You cannot even mention that. And on the crypto side, it's kind of like the opposite. Actually, it was kind of funny. So basically, one time I was showing OKKO to people, like it was exactly the same. It was the same everything, like the same gameplay footage, the same text, everything. I showed like to one traditional gamer, let's say, and he's like, "Oh, are you talk about crypto? What about the gameplay, right?" And then on the crypto side, they're like, "Oh, are you talk about this gameplay? Like, I want to know how much money I can make." Like, so it's basically
Which just to
impossible
clarify, were you having the same conversation with both of them, and they were just selectively hearing the
No.
different
I
key
mean,
points?
yeah. I mean, it was not together. Like they were not. It was not like
Right.
me, and Hep right now, right? Like they were
Yeah.
on different calls, right, at different times. But yes, it was exactly the same content, and then yes, exactly.
Interesting.
Like they all had their. Yeah, and then what the Real Wolf was saying is basically like one. I think that the route he's taking, correct if I'm wrong, or maybe I misremember, but it's basically like just don't mention crypto, kind of like have this crypto behind the scenes, right, until the people are ready to learn, right? Oh, actually, the game has crypto. Can withdraw my my tokens from any chain? Okay, that's cool. But like until then, you don't mention that, like because like it's just gonna throw them off. And that's so okay. Like this was just one example. I'm saying like that is all these like problems that we all have to tackle, and there are multiple solutions. How do you solve that? But we cannot implement, like not every game cannot implement all the solutions at the same time. So I think we should have multiple games trying different stuff and see what works and see what doesn't. And I don't think it's like, wow, one solution is the silver bullet. And no, I think like, there's multiple solutions that work, some that works better, some that works worse, like depending on what the game's trying to do, what the target audience is, that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so I think, you described it as like an auto battler, and because we're assuming that anyone in the audience is really familiar with Splinterlands. So, tell us kind of how, like, what kind of things are you doing differently, and what's the gameplay like, and kind of the aspects that are different from Splinterlands.
Okay, maybe I'll start with the similarities, which is basic. I think that the actual battle is very is very similar, right? So it is still like you build a team, and then you press play, and then the battle happens by itself. The structure of the cards are also somewhat similar, right? It's similar to almost every other game, right? Like you have your health, armor, attack, speed, and that kind of stuff. The main difference in gameplay, I think, is that firstly, it's especially in the PvP areas, is because it's like turn-based in the sense that it's not like I submit my whole team and then and we don't even see each other, like, and you submit your team and then they fight. It's basically I choose a card and then you choose a card, and then it comes back to me, more like this like speed chess idea, right? Like we all have, like, let's say 5 minutes, and you can take your time to choose your card, and then the opponent does something, and while it's in the opponent's turn, it takes from their time, it goes back to you, takes on your time. Now, outside of the battle, actually, no, let me one more main difference, and actually that's similar to that was the battle proof mechanics. In one of the video ideas that I was suggesting was that you also have these environmental effects in the game. This would be equivalent to the battle rule sets in Splinterlands, right? So like every battle is slightly different. The main difference is that these effects, they're not like this hard counter. It's not saying like, oh, you can't have a card with I don't know, physical attack, right? It's just say like, oh, let's say cards with physical attack are reduced to 0, but like, and then it plays with the elements, so there are ways for it to be immune to that. And there's also effects to specific positions. So if you put a card in a specific position, there might be an effect that only plays in that position. So,
well, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, very exactly like the idea before. And also it's a 9 versus 9, so it's a grid. It's basically a square instead of a line. So you have like you can play with like diagonals and having cards in the center, like adjacent, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe more similar to one of those like tactical JRPGs or something. But then outside of the actual battle mechanics, then because like we have like a world, right? So it's more like this like MMO style thing. So like you can move around in the world, and then if there are other people there, you can fight them. There are these energy fonts in some areas where like you can actually get these resources, right? Which are also the crypto tokens. So, and you can kind of like battle other people to kind of kick them out of there, so you can get the tokens just for yourself. And then there are 2 modes, which are another idea, which is like, again, like how do you have a free to play and fair environment, right? Like where people can, they're not gonna be like destroyed by whales, and they're not gonna be plagued by bots. Like how do you handle that? So our solutions, we have like 2 modes. So one is this PvE mode, where you basically keep kind of like going to this like endless tower, endless dungeon that you have in other games, right? But I mean, it's more specific for crypto here. So we have this mode that you keep. It is single player, and it is free to play, but you still can get crypto rewards. And again, if you did everything correctly, it's not gonna have any bots, and it's not gonna and whales are not gonna have any advantage. Everybody's the same. So it's for PvP. So there is a PvP mode where everybody has all the cards available at a specific level. So there are no, it's just skill. Like there is no, you cannot hit people with your wallet because everybody is at the same level and have the same cards, right? And again, like if the battle mechanics are correctly, like with if this idea about like the bot proof thing works, then yeah, you shouldn't need to worry about bots.
GP,
And then we can
let me interrupt you and ask, something on that point. So do you feel like I'm gonna play devil's advocate here? Do you feel like taking the approach of equalizing everybody from a need to invest into the game standpoint, is that going to operate at your detriment? Meaning, why would I put more money in if at the end of the day I have the same advantages versus somebody who's completely free to play? Where's the compelling story to the folks that would like to invest and would like to put money into your game?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think, as I told, like these are just two modes, which are very. It's like an instance, right? As I told, like, so that the whole game is like you have this world is more like this MMO style thing, but then these two modes, right? They're basically like this. I don't know, in this alternative dimension, right? Like it's not connected with the world. It's just this like almost this mini game in a sense. Though, so sure, like if somebody like just loves a particular mode. So for example, I really like the PV one. Like for some reason, I don't know, it just hooks me in. Like, but I think it might be like a more personal thing because I think overall like the PvP one is better, but for some reason I really like the PvE one. And then sure, like somebody might love that mode and might never put any money into the game, and I think that's fine because I think overall like the majority of people would still like to be in the MMO side where you, because like you are fighting creatures, you are getting your cards, like where it's like it is yours and you're leveling them up, and then you can compete in, for example, in these energy fonts, and you can probably make a lot more crypto by doing so, right? And another idea that I think this one I didn't mention before, but I think it's my solution to fix pay to win in games, right? Because like how do you fix pay to win? Because like that's something I was like players don't really like. I mean, people in crypto are more okay with that, but in traditional games, normally like people don't really like games that are pay to win, right? So if you can just deposit money and then beat everybody else, and then the free players have no chance, that's not very fun. But then how do you make that possible in a game where trading is allowed, right? Because if trading is allowed, and I'm not even talking about like real money trading, like just trading in general, like you're gonna have pay to win, like that's inevitable. You cannot avoid that. And so our solution is basically embracing that, right? So like we accept that pay to win is gonna happen. So we put mechanics in place to try to mitigate that, to basically shift the balance. So people that are willing to put a lot of money, so like all the whales, they are gonna get an advantage. Yes, they will, let's say, like have a higher chance of winning, but then the rewards are not proportional. So how do I put this simply? So it's basically saying that, okay, would you take this deal? Let's say we're playing like we're gonna spin a coin, play heads and tails, but instead of being a 50-50, you have a 60% of winning, and I only have 40%. But then if I win bucks, and then if you win, I only pay you $1. Are you math? Like it's super skilled. Like it's actually great. I would like to be on the 40% chance, right? So I want to be on the quotes like losing side of this equation, because even though I'm losing more times, but when I win, I win so much more. And then on the whale side perspective, a lot of the times they're okay with that, because like they don't necessarily care about the money, because like that's what they have a lot. They care more about the prestige or the feeling of like beating other people whatever it is. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so the mechanics are skewed in this direction to whales to win more, but then but actually like, the money flows to the people that are not necessarily paying the money, and they're just good at the game.
How do you implement that in your game?
So, I mean, the main thing is, so when cards level up, right? So every time a card levels up, it gains either a stat or an ability, right? So, and you level cards up by merging 3 together. So if you know about anything about like basic and exponential curve, right? So for example, from one card is a level 1. Now if you get 3 cards, you merge them at level 2, right? So basically, to a point, right, that at any point, like the whale needs to pay like the whatever you paid to get just one level advantage, right? So that's the main implementation, right? So yes, you are facing higher level cards, but again, like if the skill ceiling of the game is so high that it shouldn't matter. Like if you are a better player, again, you might still be not the favorite, but it's not gonna be 100% of the whale to beat you. Like maybe he has like 55% chance, and then but then he spent like 3 times the money, and then again, like this money is essentially like going to you.
GB, I'm curious where your inspiration has been drawn from. So as you're kind of explaining the multiple game modes and how do you keep things as balanced as possible while discouraging bots or not necessarily discouraging, but not offering a platform for bots to excel and succeed at a high rate. So as you're talking about all this stuff, my mind continues to jump to a game like Clash Royale, which is one that I played from kind of the very, very beginning. And it was always kind of a pay to win model. But I think over the last couple of years, and I took, as soon as I found Splinterlands, I quit buying the stupid monthly subscription on Clash Royale and just kind of focused all of my efforts on Splinterlands and some occasional other games. But I've very recently gone back into Clash Royale, and it looks like their pricing model has adjusted significantly, and they have a few different game modes that feel very similar to what you're describing, where whatever whether you're free to play or you've spent thousands of dollars in the game, all cards are on equal footing. And then there's another game mode where you can flex all your muscle and have these different iterations of the max level cards and all that sort of stuff. And then there's a few additional kind of rotating game modes. So I'm wondering where, if anywhere, do you kind of draw your inspiration for keeping things as balanced, as fun, as engaging as possible, all while trying to mitigate issues of bots and that sort of stuff. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think from so many games, and Clash Royale is definitely one of them. I really like. I think they do a lot of things right. I mean, I dislike a lot of their, as you say, like the monetization. I think is pretty predatory, but it comparatively, I think they're a pretty good game for like a mobile game, to put like the all in the same bucket. As I say, like it's like it's similar. So you do level up your cards in Clash Royale, right? But like I don't. At least last time I played, like once you reach level, I think 11, right? Then they that's the level of the competitive scene, right? So it's not like that you get, if you don't go to a mode, then you get all these cards for free. You still need to get the cards, but you don't need to level them up all the way. Like if you just want to do like this competitive stuff, you just need to level them up to level 11, and then it's expensive, but it's not like that crazy, right? And even if you think about when I talk about like in OKKO, the PvP is back and forth. It's very similar to Clash Royale as well, because like Clash Royale, it's not a turn based, right? Because like it's quotes like real time. But if you think of like let's say every second as one turn, right? Then it's almost is basically the same mechanic, right? Because like you have like your second, and then you place your card in a specific position in the arena, right? And but then the card is doing its own thing, right? It has like the auto battler aspect. So sure, like I think Battle Clash Royale, it's there is definitely some similarity with Clash Royale. There's a lot of inspiration that I get from Ragnarok. I think was in our previous episode, that was my favorite game. Some inspiration from Diablo, and in outside of the game as well. Like so, there are a lot of concepts that are not technically like game concepts, but as you see, like there's some stuff from coding or from 3D modeling, from math. I don't know, like it's just from all of these places. Like okay, I'll give one example that so I have a 2-year-old son, right? And I don't know if anyone else listening, if you have a son, you probably know about like a channel on YouTube called CocoMelon, right? And this, it's I don't know, like this video, it's basically like brain crack for kids, like to to put it simply, right? And the way that they do it is like they actually like A/B testing, right? Like so they put like these kids sitting there, and then you have like this song and this colorful stuff, and every time the kid looks away, right? So they kind of like make a note or say like whatever we're doing here, like it's not working. So and then they change the videos until like every single millisecond is like optimized for the kid to not look away at all, right? So and and then my son was like watching this stuff, and it was like I saw was like is not being good. Like he was like terrible. I think he was like he was having like speech delays and everything, and even like was like okay, like no more phone like at all, period. And then it still like took like I don't know a bit less than a week, I would say, to almost like these withdrawal symptoms, right? Like is so strong. Um, but then if you look at a movie like Lion King, right, which he loves, I think it's a lot better, right? I think Lion King is not using any uh, hacks. It's just a good movie. It's just a really good movie, and like but then he's fine. Like he watches the movie, and then he can do something else, right? But me, so why I'm saying a lot of this, like, so every time like I'm watching cartoons or even like the movie, I'm still like paying attention. Okay, what are these guys doing? Like, what is it working? Like, what is the fundamental principle that like it works in these movies that could work in games, but it could work as in a business and everything. So I think it's just it's just pay attention to all of this. It's not just about the games. It's like everything else, like all these like I don't know fundamental principles.
GB, I gotta say, the last things that I expected you to say you draw inspiration from are the Lion King and CocoMelon.
CocoMelon, yeah, right.
Well done, though, man.
Yeah, we definitely had to
fascinating
implement
stuff.
a no CocoMelon policy in the house as well. I feel like it's weird, because you said like they even all the songs sort of have like the same like rhythm to it, like they've like optimized like the rhythm and the wording and all that stuff. And yeah, we my daughter definitely watched some of that at some point. I forget, it was definitely during the pandemic, and we were like, well, we're home and we're working and we need something to do with her. So yeah, and then I think we've agreed that we're not going to be doing that for the youngest one at this point. We haven't yet. Yeah, I haven't even thought about Coco Melon in like a couple years. It's like flashbacks, man.
Well, they have definitely cracked the code. They're sitting 190 billion views and
Oh yeah, I
almost
bet.
200 million subscribers, and yeah, it's just insane. I mean, we've definitely utilized Coco Melon at our school here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. There are some songs that it's fantastic for learning English. A lot of these things, so it reaches well outside of the English speaking world.
Yeah.
Is my point there. That's yeah.
What
Well,
age
GB,
kids are you showed them to? Are you showed it to like older
no,
some English, or is
we've
it
got it's our younger learners, so 3 to
okay?
6
Okay,
most often. Yeah, it's been a while, but we have
definitely
used
older.
Coco Melon in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you can see that this influence, for example, anywhere. So if you look at like crypto games, right? We're talking about like what tactics like are people using the same idea. So for example, I see all these crypto games very similar to Cocomelo in the sense that they're not trying to make a good game, right? So like Lion King, like making a good movie works, but making a good movie is really, really hard. Like making anything really good is really, really hard, right? But like hacking people or scamming people is a lot easier. So I think that's what people default to. So if you look at all these crypto games, it's you have I don't know, like 25 tokens that do some stuff. Like it's all this like plus Ponzi scheme because that's just easier and it works. And if you think about like in the terms of competition, right? Like so it's almost dumb not to do it. Like in a way, I kind of feel stupid trying to go this other route because like I feel it's almost impossible in
You're
the
the
sense
sucker.
that yeah, exactly, because like you cannot outcompete because like if you create a Ponzi scheme that works, like it triggers the people's brain, whatever with FOMO, you name it, right? Like so then you get a bunch of money and then use this money to build a proper game. But what usually happens, like, okay, you build a Ponzi scheme, you get a bunch of money. Why would you spend, like, why would you build a game and you, like, now you got all the money already to just do some whatever, like do some shitty game that you need to click a button just to fulfill your obligations, I guess, but then run away with the money. And that's what I think happens a lot. So you see, like, it's the same thing with Coco Melon and the Lion King. I'm just saying, like, I keep seeing these connections everywhere.
Well, I guess it depends on what is your purpose, right? Like I feel like you are pursuing this thing, maybe from a more noble perspective in the name of Web3. I know you're a huge crypto enthusiast. You believe in the power of what Web3 can do to the gaming industry and elsewhere. Is that accurate as to why you're kind of embracing the sucker title for the time being, and is in pursuit of kind of cracking the Web3 code?
I wish I was that noble, to be honest. Like being very 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 realistic, I think it's just who I am, in the sense that like I really like games. I like these like building stuff and being and having different ideas, right? So I don't think I'm doing this for noble reasons. I'm just it just happened to coincided like doing. I think if I liked dancing, I don't know, I would be, the world would be ending. I would be dancing like very selfishly. Uh, I guess I just lucky that it happened. That
I think that's
I
the
think
most Brazilian thing I've ever heard you say, GB, is like him embracing dance when the world is burning.
The world is ending. Yeah. Yeah, but again, I think I was just lucky that it was. I think it's aligned what I wanted to do. It just happens to be more on the noble side, but I wouldn't take any credit. Like just again, just yeah, I would just consider myself yeah, not a selfish asshole, but not that far from that.
So the game's goal is just a product of circumstance and timing. Well, the noble pursuit is a better story, GB. I will say that.
Yeah, again, maybe I'm a sucker. Maybe I should have run with that story. Yes, let's do the crypto to save the world and everything. Like, and sure, again, like, I mean, I'm of course, like, I'm partly joking. Like, there's, I want to help, but I'm just saying, like, I think it's just a product of the circumstance, and that I like to have good ideas and do good games, and I just think games are very important now. Like, I think it's I think we discussed a bit in the previous episode as well that people say like a game is a waste of time, and like I think it's completely the opposite. I think it's very underrated. I think it's like the amount of stuff we can do, like games, like it's basic running these alternative simulations, and a way where we can like hang out, like socialize, meet new people, yeah, try new things, learn and have fun. Especially now with crypto, I think it's crypto. I think it's so important, especially in like in our landscape now with all the censorship and all the, I mean, the money printing and everything that is kind of like in this idea like save the money, save the world. I think games is such a easy entry point to get at least help with like mass adoption, help like people get familiar with crypto, help people get familiar with talking to other people in without being censored by everything. And I mean, I guess like we're glad that games are not hold to a higher standard, and it's kind of like let it slide. I think we can use it as this kind of like slip under the rug. I think that's what we should do.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm wondering, just talking about the token. So you're building this all sort of on Hive and the token on the Hive blockchain, right? Using like with Hive Engine or
So we're starting with the token on Hive Engine, but it's not, the game is not built on top of Hive. Like in fact, the plan is to be in as many blockchains as possible. Like to be like extremely like interoperable. Because I don't think the games need to be on the blockchain. In fact, I think they shouldn't. If anything, that's another thing that again, like a different idea that I don't really see many games trying to do. I mean, they're kind of doing that like almost by accident, because like how do you solve having like a live game? So the game needs to make changes, right? Like they need to update, they need to make new features, they need to fix bugs. Like how you cannot just have that on the blockchain and being mutable, unless it's a game like, I don't know, poker or chess, that it's solved there, let's say. But if you want to have this live game, you need to have some people developing that. So like it's kind of like, what's the point of the blockchain anymore? Because like if somebody gonna have like full access to change anyway. So, and then sure, like you could have something like a DAO, but then you have the problem that it's like, well, like you're gonna have the DAO making decisions to balance the game. Like that's a recipe for disaster. Like you shouldn't have like players balancing the game. It's gonna be terrible.
Well,
But at the same time,
let's push pause here and focus on the game itself not being on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Circling back to what you mentioned earlier in the conversation, where you're having the exact same elevator pitch of, here is OKKO, this is how you play the game, this is how you operate within the game, and depending on who you're speaking to, the gamers hear crypto, the crypto guys hear only gameplay. I feel like the nature of keeping the game off of the blockchain probably bodes well, or at least bodes better for attracting the gamers, especially when it's a free to play. You obviously don't need to set up a wallet in order to start playing and enjoying the game. And I mean, as much as we are, all of us here in Splinterlands are kind of in our own little bubble of, we're all accustomed to operating on Hive, and setting up, acquiring a spell book, setting up an account is just the name of the game. I think to Splinterlands' credit, they have made it a pretty seamless transition from buying a spell book to setting up a Hive account. You don't really realize that there is that connection happening on the back end. But I mean, let's be real. The number of pure gamers versus the number of crypto gamers, there's no comparison, right? Like, the best strategy is going to be one that targets gamers and brings them aboard crypto. However, stealthily you're able to accomplish that. Has that contributed to your thinking at all, GB, in terms of potential growth for not just OKKO, but also, like we talked about earlier, you're kind of using OKKO to set a precedent for other games to take and learn from?
Yeah, I think exactly what you're talking about. The crypto gamers are still probably not even 1%. It's probably like a 0.1% or whatever it is. Like, it's so small, but it's not even, I'm not thinking of like all these marketing strategies, the money making strategy. I'm thinking about like in the perspective of like making a good game. And normally like the technology should just feel the need of the game. So like I don't want to use blockchain for the sake of using blockchain. The point is to make the game decentralized. Actually, the point is not even to make the game decentralized. The point is to make a game, for example, where people can trade, they can talk freely, and normally the way to do that is, at least that I know of, is through decentralization, right? Because or else, like, some governments say like, oh no, you cannot let the players trade, right? Oh, you cannot, you need to ban this and that topic, right? So like this, the decentralization is just a means to an end to achieve this freedom, let's say, right? But it needs to start from there. Like, again, like, it doesn't, if you can achieve this decentralization without blockchain, then do it. Like, blockchain is one of the tools, and I'm saying like, oh, we're not using blockchain. Of course we are, like, but not for the game layer. So I think blockchain is very good for example, for this token or currency, coins, whatever you want to call. That's the layer I think blockchain is most useful. So in this case, like, okay, yes, we start with Hive engine on Hive, but that's just one. So the game layer is on these centralized servers, but because the game is open source and the whole thing can, and I actually expect to have copies of multiple servers, like, then it's decentralized in that fashion, right? It's very similar. I don't know if I said this in the previous episode, but like, I told, like, Ragnarok is my favorite game, and one thing that it was, I think the game was hacked back in the day, right? So of course it was not planned for the code to be open source, but because they were hacked, the code was somehow like became open source, right? And then there was all these private servers that spawned from that, and were like competing with the main not just competing, like some were competing, right? Just trying to do exactly the same thing but better. But actually, a majority of that was just trying to do different stuff. They're like, oh, we're gonna make the game where you can level up 10 times faster, or where you can fight these bosses. There are bosses everywhere, right? Or is this theme is like is the game is is based on, I don't know, Pokemon or Dragon Ball, whatever. Like, so you have all these different servers. So it was decentralized in the sense that there was like hundreds of servers. You could choose where you play, and then if one shut down, normally we could just either just continue from where it was, right, or just go to another one. And I think back in the day they didn't have a crypto, right? So it was not like you can take, for example, this like value of the server and being the, and again, doesn't need a, you don't need a chain, you don't need like a chain specific for the game, you don't need a token specific for the game. Like if you're playing the game in this private server and then you withdraw to Bitcoin, it's like you can kind of capture all this value. You don't need anything specific for that. If that answers the question, like how like the decentralize, a different way to decentralize.
Yeah, I think so. So what is the like the token? What's kind of the use for the token in the game? Like how is that, driving value?
Yeah, I mean, so that's also a bit different because like we don't have this token that can move, and it's it is the pre-sale right now is just a token for the in-game uh currency, right? It's the, and it's not pegged to the dollar, but kind of like the mechanics is that like that's the coin that is used for basically everything in the game. So again, like if you want to get cards, if you want to join in the this like fonts area, if you want to do whatever, you're gonna use the in-game currencies. Like so think as like, I don't know, gold in World of Warcraft, right? So the way we decided to do is that this is not like a games on the block token. Is the token is called Omnisource, right? Which is what generates divine energy, which is the this in-game currency. And so if you buy in the pre-sale, there's, again, you're not gonna, there is no way you can like 100x. Basically the way we did was just like selling at a 50% discount, because we want mostly to see if people are enjoying the game, like if they buy the vision and are happy to play the game. And then if sure, like if the game is successful and people are playing the game, right, then because you bought a 50% discount, that is pretty, you can still get like some returns, but I think mostly people would be buying for I mean, there are some benefits as well. Like, so you get roles on Discord. Like, you might be able to design cards for the game. You can see the whole list of benefits in the Hive post. But we, again, was very carefully chosen because like one of the pillars of the game is to not have anything that is like limited, that meaning that you can never get it again, right? So it's okay to do that outside of the game. So for example, yes, you can get the alpha backer role on Discord, and like, and that's never gonna happen again. But like nothing in the game, it's something that you can, oh, like now you buy this card or you buy this item, and then that's it. Like you're the only one that is gonna have that in perpetuity. That's like against our pillars. But then back about in the pre-sale, so like if sure, like let's say if we're just started alpha, right? And I think the plan for beta is to be in like around like 4 months from now, and now the discount would go down to 25%, right? So you can think of like, okay, 50% in 4 months. Actually, that's pretty good. Like I would take that, right? If it was guaranteed, but there is enough risk because, like, well, again, all the ideas that we're talking here, maybe they don't work, maybe they shit, maybe nobody wants to play the game, and then you kind of like out of luck. But again, ideally, I think it's as I told, like, we're doing this full time, and I think all the ideas are stress test enough. Again, like maybe not in reality, but like, man, we definitely like talk with very smart people trying to look at every potential angle, like to attack. And like, again, I think they hold the ideas hold themselves, right? So
GB, let's focus on what you just mentioned. How are you hedging your bets that you are offering a product that is not super risky, that this game is going to be attractive for folks? How are you getting the game in front of people? How are you getting people to try out the game? Obviously there is a pre-sale that's offering a significant discount to enter into the game. What about the other side of the equation? What are you doing on kind of the marketing side?
yeah, okay. So just to reiterate, yes, you can play the game right now. You still, like, you need to go on Discord and ask for a key, but like first you can check the game for yourself. Sure, it's still in alpha, it's still gonna be buggy and everything, but I think the gist is there. Like, you should be able to see for yourself if it's something that you think you would like to play, or if other people would like to play, right? Again, like the core mechanics are there. The only thing that is missing is basically like trading, but the actual game is there. Again, buggy, but it's there. Now on the other side, so yeah, you have all these other risks. So stuff like uh, marketing, or say like, or running out of funds, or I don't know which other risk. But I think these would probably be like the two main ones that people would be concerned. And sure, like those are all valid. So for example, yes, we can do a terrible job at marketing, and then the thing doesn't take off. But first, I think like if the game is good enough, it should get enough word of mouth that even if you don't do a good job, like it would just take like longer, but I think it would still be successful. Second, again, like you don't even need to trust us, and you just, the whole game is open source, as I told you. Like the database is gonna be available like probably on a daily basis. So if you don't like what you're doing, like the you yourself or the community in general can just like say like, yo, these guys here don't know what they're doing. Like, just okay, just so you have this like assurance that at any point people can take over. Like, they can create a better server, and they just use the same tokens and run with that. But yes, again, it might still fail. We're very confident, but yes, there are risks. But I think, again, the pre-sale, I think, was very carefully. The numbers were chose very carefully. So the 50% discount and the amount of tokens were also very deliberate, because like we're doing these like very small steps. So like if you do basically, like, it's like 20, if you're thinking dollars, it's a 25k USD pre-sale, right? Like that is very, very low, and it was chosen again like on purpose, because like we don't want to take a step bigger than we can handle, bite more than we can chew, whatever the expression is. So we're just taking a small step, making sure everything is working, and then we kind of ramp up, right? I'm not saying like we're gonna be doing slowly. We're having this approach with almost everything. So, for example, in the media side, yes, we're making videos here and there, we're making Hive posts here and there, we're streaming, and it's not just, and it was not just like, oh, we started the thing yet. Like, no, we're just testing. Like, okay, can we do that? What we're not good at? What we can improve? What can we make better? And once you're kind of like happy, okay, now we need to put it all together and then go and don't let the momentum drop. And actually, you'll see. Like, I think we're gonna start this week on the Hive, a lot more heavy on the Hive side. Another idea that we're gonna do, which is basic, have the whole game wiki on Hive, because I think that's a very good platform as well to do that, instead of going to like this like wiki fandom or whatever, because like, again, only centralized can be taken out anytime. It's like it's full of ads and it's fully problematic. So I think that that's a very good use case of Hive as well. Like, you have people playing the game on Hive, right? They can get like the rewards from Hive Engine, but also like if they want to read about the game, like sure, a bunch of the stuff it's in game, but like if you want like a wiki with all the information that you can easily navigate and watch videos, for example, if you're looking at like a strategy of an ability, it's all on Hive, right? So yeah, that's another example of ideas to do with a bit outside the game.
Why isn't Splinterlands lore on Hive? What's going on there? I feel like you're absolutely right, man. That's such an easy win, and the posts are essentially endless, and leveraging the hashtags, leveraging the community on there. Yeah,
like
that feels like a no-brainer.
It's literally thousands of posts, and I'm not talking about like, because I don't think it's. I don't think that's the type of content you should like be like farming for rewards. It's just that again, like maybe can even release all at once, right? The point is that it just needs to be in a decentralized place where you can follow the links very easily. And again, like Hive is perfect for that.
All right. Well, so in the past 2 episodes, this topic has come up, and it's around new player experience. So both Joey and DJ, Hep and myself, I think the 4 of us have all kind of agreed as far as what should a new player experience look like. And GB, I'm curious with respect to OKKO, what is that ramp up onboarding period look like for new folks coming in, and how have you approached getting folks familiar with mechanics and obviously the different styles of gameplay, whether it's PvP or PvE, and then obviously there's the token side of things. So there's a lot of different things happening as you're entering into OKKO. Is this something that are you testing this out with your 2-year-old son? Has the tutorial of OKKO replaced Coco Melon for baby GB?
Actually, like, yeah, I put like some. I try to avoid him coming in the office here because, like, my son is super naughty, like, and have like cables everywhere and outlets under the desk. So I try, but like, yeah, sometimes he's on my lap, and then like I'm showing him the game, and he really likes the cards, like, because like he knows all. There are like a lot of the cards are similar enough to some animals, right? So he's like, monkey, hippo, and yeah. So even a 2-year-old could identify that. No, but okay. Now, seriousness. I think most of the new player experience, and that's kind of what we're testing right now, right? Because like we had we don't have many players yet. We did have like one guy that was very interesting because like he found the game while he was watching we were like testing out these streams from YouTube, and he was not a crypto gamer at all. Like he just found the thing out of nowhere, and then he just like loved the game mechanics. He's like oh, it's so deep, like it's so cool, like what you can do. But I don't know if I want to use him as the. I don't think it's statistically significant because like he definitely seemed like to be like a more hardcore player. Like he could pick up things very easily, so he could even with very little things to show him how to play the game, he managed to understand. But overall, like we tried with, especially with the PVE side, because like I think PvP is definitely more complicated. But like on the PvE, it kind of definitely like has a very low starting point, like in terms of complexity, right? Like so, we start in this area where you're only fighting like so you start with a very OP card, right? And you're facing just like single cards by themselves. So it's just enough for you to have enough time to read the abilities, like see what's going on, right? And then you're free like to move in the world, right? But then all the areas around this starting zone are also easy enough. Like I mean, it's harder, but it's easy enough that they should be able to win. And if they don't, it should be fairly obvious that they can just go back to the easier place where they were winning, level up their cards, and then proceed. The other mode, the ascend mode, I think that's pretty good as well, because like you kind of just you keep going through these stages where like the goals should get higher and higher. But again, like you just pick like 3 cards and then you keep going up. So that's also like you have you start with just 3 cards and at level 1. So and then the challenge is ramping up as you progress, right? But then and it has a very clear metric for you to compare yourself to. So you say like, oh, okay, I managed to beat like I don't know stage 5, right? And then I lost. And then if they play again and again, like now if they get to stage 7 or 8, like it's a very clear feedback that they are improving, like they are getting better at the game. And then aside from gameplay, I think there are other cool things that we can do on the onboarding stuff. So for example, with the assuming the game is bot free, right? It has this bot free mechanics. What we can do, for example, for Hive is create a Hive account for free, because we kind of know if the player is a bot or not. Just because, like for example, if you say if the person managed to reach this stage at this free mode, they like a bot wouldn't be able to do it. So it must be a human. So we can even pay out of our pockets to create this account for them, because it's not going to be easily exploited by bots or trying to create multiple accounts, right? So this is the type of onboarding that we're thinking about the depositing crypto, because I think that's one of the hardest part, is that a lot of people, like let's say like they like the game but they don't necessarily know how to use crypto. So and then if you require crypto to create an account, I think that's a very difficult hurdle to get that to pass, right? Because like they're not gonna go jump through all the crypto hoops just to try out the game. Like so they need to be able to try the game for free. And but again, like, that's hard to do without, because like if you give them like anything for free, then again that's exploited by bots or anything, right? So and sure, as I told, like we have these like free versions of the game, but even in the quotes like paid version, we can still do some cool stuff. So for example, you can start the game, and that's what we're planning to implement. Like you can start the game in debt, right? Like the player doesn't know that, but like behind the scenes, so let's say like you get whatever 10,000 crystals there to start the game, right? Now they can use this crystal to whatever, like to play the game like for free and everything, but like they're still restricted to trading until they kind of like paid off this debt that they had, right? But and they can do so like if they're good at the game, they can use this kickstarting crystals. They can, and then if they're making crystals in the game that is more than the 10,000, right? Then well, again, like they paid their debt, and then they can do whatever they want, right? And again, like it doesn't need to be like super, like you don't say like you are in debt, you need to pay exactly 10,000. Like, that's not a good player experience. But my point is like you can have this behind that. Oh, you need to unlock the room of whatever, the room of wishes. But basically, like, yes, it's behind the scenes you're paying off this debt. So yeah, that's another idea again, like that. I don't think I've ever seen any other crypto game doing that, but that's something we want to do. I mean, we're not. This is not implemented yet because again, it's still in alpha. Like people can play for free, and we're just putting. We're gonna be putting the rewards out of pocket again, just from alpha, just from seeing what's going on. But yeah, that's what we kind of want to do.
So, I mean, with respect to all the onboarding stuff and understanding game mechanics and ensuring that there is that understanding as players progress through the experience of familiarizing themselves through OKKO, and obviously the hope is that they begin to adopt and engage with uh other game modes and other aspects of the game, whether that's trading or uh anything outside of the core gameplay. Are you designing a lot of this stuff to where there is, especially with respect to the game modes, where there is, it sounds like you are, but I'm not sure I completely understood that it is this way, but are you designing, PvP to, or excuse me, PvE, which I believe you said is the easier to grasp of the two right out of the gate? Are you designing it in a way to where the mechanics are and the skills are transferable immediately to subsequent game modes? So, instead of jumping from PvE to PvP, instead of having to relearn or learn everything fresh, you've already got kind of a foundational skill set to where you're essentially just building upon that as you enter into these additional game modes.
Yeah, the core mechanics exactly the same from every mode, right? Like that battle is unchanged. I mean, the only change is that like in PvE, it's not like really turn based in the sense that it's not like you take a turn, the computer takes a turn, because I mean the computer it's a lot easier like that, right? But for PvP, it's a lot more interactive if we're taking turns. But that's the main difference. About these modes, the something else we actually, that's the one of the main philosophies, is that like just we're building tools so then players can do kind of like whatever they want. I think similar to what you guys mention all the time about like the kitchen table like mode free for all. I always forget about the full acronym. But the idea is
table game
like,
mode for all, GB.
uh, because like the idea, like, yeah, if you look at this, like when you're playing Magic, right, or Pokemon, whatever, like these card games in your kitchen table with your friends, the game happens like it's rendered in your imagination. Like there's no need to implement stuff. So for example, if you think a card is OP, you can all agree, say like, oh, this card costs 3 mana instead of 2. Like, okay, cool. Like that's like you can do that instantly, right? Oh, you want to fight like 2v2? Okay, like me and my friend is gonna sit on this side of the table, you guys to sit over there. Okay, like how we do it, like is the health combined or everybody has a individual health? Okay, let's combine the health. You see, like instantly you can change the rules to whatever you want, right? And then that's not super possible to do in digital games, but I mean it can get close enough. So I think the best example is with World of Warcraft, right? Because like they had those ability to create custom maps that the community just went nuts and just creating all these game modes that actually spawned like new genres, right? So you had like MOBAs came out of these Warcraft custom maps, tower defense, I think battle royale, like you name it. Like there's so many different modes, different ways to play in the game, and I think that's kind of like what we should be doing. Like just enable the community to do community things. Like, so for example, one thing that we do have in the game right now is like, okay, you have this a card creator tool, which is, I mean, it's not like fully functional. That's the thing we are using, but like it's not like the players cannot fully design cards right now, but like it's fairly close. That so one of the things like, okay, you can design the cards and you can suggest like, yo, here's a card. I think it would be great for the game, and then the community could vote, and then we could implement into the game, right? That's one way of using the tool. But another way is like, okay, actually, like you can create all the crazy cards you want, like go nuts. But of course, they're not gonna be able to be used for the main game. But for example, if you want to challenge your friend with these crazy cards, sure, do it. Like if you want to create a tournament with these unique cards, if you want to have cards specific for your guild, like these are all things that should be possible if we have the tools that allow that. Again, like if we have a more custom sandbox mode where you can change the rules of the game and say like, okay, now instead of 9 versus 9, it's a 5 versus 5, and then instead of having 2 environmental effects, you have no environmental effects at all, and then you double down the position effects. Like you can customize and do whatever you want. I think that's the way to go. It's just instead of we necessarily saying all the time like, oh no, these are the modes, these are the best. We create the tools. I mean, we start with these modes kind of like just to have the main game running, right? But we, and also to give people ideas. But yeah, the core thing is to have tools so people can do whatever they want, whatever. And I think we will end up with modes that are probably even more fun than the game itself. Actually, this happened with Magic, right? With I think Commander became more popular than the actual game itself. I think with Hearthstone, I mean, this was not a community game, but like you had I think Battlegrounds was, I think, more popular than the main Hearthstone game as well, which was kind of like this, like I don't know if it was an event mode that it just happened to become popular. So yeah, anyway, that's I think the philosophy, like just mostly creating the tools instead of like trying to predict what is the best one.
Yeah, I think it's great. Just put a lot of agency into the players' hands. And, we talk about this in Splinterlands, how there's so many different, talented and creative people in the community. And yeah, trying to kind of give those people the ability to kind of, work some of their own magic and seeing what works out is a great idea.
Yeah,
GB,
there is.
Oh, go ahead, man.
No. Please ask.
Well, I was gonna say it wouldn't be a TPG episode if we didn't talk about Splinterlands to some degree, and Hep, you kind of teed us up. So, before we kind of shift the primary focus from OKKO, is there anything else that you kind of want to highlight? I know you and I have gone back and forth about potentially running, a TPG live stream, trying to get OKKO in front of some Splinterlands folks. But yeah, floor is yours, GB. And if there's other stuff that you kind of want to focus on before we shift gears, by all means, go ahead, man.
Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about 3 things. I'll try to make them brief. Just highlight. Yes. Okay. Sure. Talk about these events with. But before, more specific about OKKO, two other topics that I want to highlight is like AI and eCash, which I think there are 2 other topics that I think we have a bit of a different ideas. So we start with AI. I think that's connected with like the crypto stigma. There's a lot of stigma against AI. Again, I think with good reason, right? And this is not just in games, right? Like there is a bunch of people getting losing jobs because of AI. in particular in games, is mostly because of artists, right? So mostly for pictures, for video editing, for sounds, songs, and I think yes, like most people use like AI just because it's easier, it saves money, but I think we should. It just fits so perfectly, and I don't see many people talking about this in crypto games. Is that it's so perfect for our use case because like if we're trying to make these decentralized games, right, where nobody's the owner and it's permissionless and everything, how if we're dealing with this, like I'm gonna call like this legacy system with like copyrights and IP and licenses, I don't think we're gonna go that much further. Like it's gonna be a problem. Actually, I think it's already a problem. Uh, and with AI, there is like who is this image? Like who is the artist? Like no, nobody. Like the image popped out of the void, right? And then it's everybody's uh, image. So I think it's such a perfect use case for AI that many people are talking about, and that's what we're embracing. So uh, the whole game, everything is. I mean, we still like do a lot of editing, a lot of composition, but a lot of things used done with AI on purpose, and it's not gonna change even when we have more funding. And yeah, I don't know if if that's clear. Anything you guys
No, I
any
mean, I think
thoughts on that?
yeah, I mean, that's definitely a route that it seems like a lot of games have taken, right? It seems like being, especially with creating images, for cards or character artwork, it's the route a lot of people are going. So, I think that makes sense, especially if you're, on a limited team and you just want to try to you're more focused on, the gameplay and creating a fun game than spending the time and resources to, um, sort of draw all the artwork by hand just so you can try to retain some of those creative rights in it. Yeah, I don't think it makes much sense, right? If the game's what's important, then how the characters themselves, like protecting the characters is, because anybody can just come and make different characters and, skin it on top of the game, and like what's really the value there, right? So that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, I love that embrace of AI. I mean, it does fit so well with the rest of your model. If if you have every intention of creating this game in order to kind of empower your community of OKKO players to run with the decentralization, create their own server, create their own fork, whatever that is. uh AI just gives them the extra opportunity to make it an approachable, engaging game, just the same way that you have with the original.
Yeah, because that was kind of like the issue with the Ragnarok servers or World of Warcraft private servers, whatever. It's always because like the main company was always like sue them and shut the server down, right? So it was very annoying. So like if you even if the server had like this very different approach, have like this very novel game ideas, they couldn't really like, yes, they create the server, but like if you're gonna play that, like as soon as it gets big enough that they're gonna shut down. So that was like very sad. So I think we need to do that, like to basically not leave any room for these annoyances. Because like even if again, like even if the game is open source, so let's say if the image was created by somebody and then they say like, oh no, I don't want my image on this server doing this particular thing. I don't approve whatever they're doing there, so I don't want my images there, and then it becomes a problem. So like you would just again go through all of that at once.
What
So
about, and I don't know enough about AI generated artwork to really comment here. Maybe one of you guys do. Suppose that OKKO goes astronomical. The whole world is playing OKKO. And all of a sudden, whether you're using OpenAI or Adobe or you fill in the blank as far as AI generative software goes. Uh, at the end of the day, can Adobe come calling and say, "Hey, OKKO, you've got 3 billion users. We want a piece of the pie from all of this artwork that we've generated." I don't know what that line looks like. Hep, you're shaking your head. You're saying no.
No, they can't. I mean, because the to have, I mean, less, yeah, no, the to have any sort of intellectual property rights, there has the way it is now is that you have to someone has to create, like a person has to create it, right? The program can't be considered the person. The company who made the program can't be considered the person. The debate now is whether um, what level of involvement the person who's doing the prompt engineering, um, like what rights they have as the artist in a work, right? Because if you're just using the computer as a tool and you're saying, defining the characteristics of what things look like in such a specific way, where then the the computer program is essentially just making it almost as like a work for hire sort of thing, where it's just kind of giving you what you're asking for as opposed to generating it wholesale. I mean, that's the the closest thing as like the debate to topic, and that person could be considered the artist on a work, but like no, the
We're
company who
not there
makes the
yet, though.
program, right, right, right.
Right.
Yeah, they there's talk about whether they're going to go to like something along those lines, but as of right now, that's not the current guidelines in most places. Um, but yeah, the company who makes the programs, wouldn't have a right to it. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's also to the extent these programs are really not generating things. Yeah, the other argument is that they're really not generating things on their own, right? They're really taking pieces of things they've seen of other people's work and piecing it together as something new, right? Because they're not like the thing doesn't know how to draw a cat. It
It's
knows
not
that,
drawing from imagination. Yeah.
right, the cat, they know have seen a billion images of a cat, and they've seen if you wanted to a half cat, half horse, it's seen, enough images and been taught in enough ways that like, these are the two things and this is how they can be combined. And that's why sometimes you'll still get like weird, freaky stuff when you ask it to do certain things. It's just, yeah, it's not actually doing anything itself. It's just trying to put together pieces of things it's seen before into a recognizable shape. So,
All right.
yeah, and I
Three
think
billion, 3 billion users. Go for it, GB.
and I think even if it was at least on our end, again, we're still in alpha. We're still like not fully uh, as we want to be. So, for example, we still use the icons of the abilities and everything. It was, I mean, I bought a pack, right? So I still have whatever, like that license there and everything. But like definitely before the game launches, we're gonna replace that all with AI generated stuff. And I think by that time we're probably gonna use running on our own hardware, so AI models that are open sourced. So we're not even using the Adobe thing that could come and ask, oh, you use ours. So like, no, like we use the open AI to create all of the thing. Sure, like you can still you use the Hep's argument saying that oh maybe but it was like reference, like they use these artists as the reference. But like man, at that point, like everybody, like every artist uses inspiration, like they have eyes, right? Like so they've seen others people work, and like there's impossible to remove that from their influence, because like once you see, you cannot unsee it. But yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But
Cool.
okay, and then changing the other topic that I think it's I don't see many people talking, and I think I mean, might be too technical, but another way, instead of using blockchain for the game, and that's something we want to implement in OKKO as well, is eCash. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with eCash. It's from
No.
like the I guess it's basically what originated what gave Satoshi like the original vision, right? Because like eCash was something from the 80s, I think 82, if I remember correctly. And it's basically like, again, like already once computers were a thing, like they're already trying to solve like, okay, how do you transfer money using computers, right? Like, and the solution is because like what Bitcoin did was essentially like one of the things solving the double spending problem, right? Because like if in a digital thing you can copy paste anything, how can even if I could create this like uh this big number here that only you have, like once you give it to somebody, then they also have that big number, which is the money, and then now you just can copy paste money, right? So eCash, basically what it does is anyone can print money, right? Everybody can essentially be the uh, similar to what it was before. So, for example, if you go to your baker, you could almost like have a baker credit, right? Like you, I don't know, do like the favor, and then you have like 10. The baker gives you like $10 worth of credit, and you might just go there and buy a bunch of bread one day, right? But like because like so this baker can emit could create money, let's say, but that can only be used in his shop, right? And then with eCash, that's basically what's possible to do, because like what you can do is like the baker would go and sign. So he would give this a number, right? Whatever, just a random number, and he would sign and say like, okay, this is $10 in the bakery shop, and then he signed. So now if you go back there, like he knows it's valid because like he has the digital signature that only he could have produced. So like there is no way you could uh, print money from him. Only he can print that money. And so what that allows is that you have all the benefits of a centralized system, because like, man, blockchain, like decentralization, it's very inefficient, right? Like, so yes, it's great for, again, like we talk about like being resilient, about like being to allow us to have like this like permissionless trustless stuff, but it is at a cost. Like it is very inefficient. So if we have a centralized system, now it's very efficient, but it's again like very prone to corruption or misuse, and you name it, right? So but now if everybody's doing that, so if the baker is doing that, if the blacksmith, everybody has their own thing, that's a lot better. So you have the benefit of the centralized system, and it works really well. And ironically works even better now with Bitcoin, because like you can, so the baker can basically uh, back their own thing with Bitcoin. So you kind of have the best of both worlds. So I think that's something that again, we didn't implement this yet, but that is something like we want to try, is like having this like eCash that, for example, OKKO could go and have its own currency that people can trade, right? But then it's not technically on the blockchain, because like it doesn't need to be. It's a lot more efficient, but it has all the benefits. In fact, it actually have extra benefits. So, for example, with eCash, you have a benefit of having anonymity in a centralized system, which is not easy to do, right? Because like if you have a bank database, you normally would have like Bjangles has $10, Hep has $12, and but you kind of need to know the name, right? So to have like that the balance. But with this eCash, you don't really care who has the node. It's a lot more similar to cash, like if, because like you can transfer that number to somebody else, and that's it. Like once when you retrieving the bread from the baker, he doesn't he doesn't know who, like how many hands did that that note went through, right? How many hands, like how many people traded it. You just know like it's a valid note. Okay, here are 10 breads. There you go. So I guess that's why it's the name. It's like it's e-cash. It's very similar to cash in that way. Yeah. So anyway, and another another of these ideas that we're trying to implement.
Interesting. Yeah, I was reading a book and I was talking about one of the earliest forms of uses of a type of currency. It was in England, and it's exactly this thing they were talking about, whereas like a bar had made, um, before there was a standardized currency there, like bar had made these like wooden tokens that people could redeem for, like a pint of ale. And yeah, and that's kind of like how they're like one of the first systems of currency there.
Of course, it was related to either booze or
Drinking.
hookers, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
That was the pioneers.
Nice.
Yeah, but I think that's mainly it. Like I'm just saying that now we actually have a thing. It is working, so we can try all these crazy ideas, but it's not like we're just not writing like a paper anymore that nobody's gonna read. It's just like no, we can go implement, and then people can play out and try for ourselves. Like, and I expect some of the abilities, some of the ideas to fail miserably, but some to succeed. And I think only a few need to succeed for us to have like a very successful game, and for other people again like to have other successful games, especially for building this shared infrastructure. Because like man, like that's the thing what kind of bothers me in this space is that like I understand like if we're building a bomb, you don't want to make it open source. Like you don't want to give on a silver platter to your enemies, right? Like it makes no sense. But if we're building stuff that by definition is like this like common layer, right? Like so like trading, you trade with other people. You cannot just you can trade with yourself. So if trading, so all this like money trading or in these games, right? Like we're talking about like these parallel virtual worlds, like this place where everybody's gonna hang out, is gonna play. Like that's again by definition like a shared thing, and I think we should be building all this infrastructure together instead of like everybody trying to do uh their own Ponzi scheme. I don't know.
Well, I love the approach, GB. I mean, it feels maybe a bit idealistic, but I think your ambitions for OKKO and for Web3, I think that there's a lot to take away from the way that you're approaching this project, and I'm excited to see how this pans out, and hopefully we see some cool OKKO stuff. Just keep us posted, man. And
Where'd you get the name from?
No, it's just no.
AI,
No, no, actually, like
your
I
son's
just wanted
first word.
I just
Yeah.
yeah. No, it was just there's no meaning. It was just like I just wanted a name that was like simple enough that it was and again it could be designed. So for example, OKKO is like so you can read like from backwards and forwards, like it's like how to say like symmetrical.
Palindrome.
Yeah, and we have like this the two circles, right? Like the O's, so you can do stuff with the circles, like with the logo. Actually, ideally, I wanted to call it Iki, but in English, it kind of sounds like Iki is not necessarily, it's not really a good word. So I was like, okay, let's just go OKKO. But yeah, but anyway, like I mean, name aside, we'll talk about like me trying this crazy stuff. Actually, I want to highlight it's not just me. Actually, I'm really happy that like people seem to like relate to the message. So I mean, the biggest one I want to give a big shout out to the Moore, because like he's basically part of Games on the Block now. Like even though we're building this things again to not have any particular owner and owner. He's helped like tremendously, like so I think for over a year now. So I think it's an example of again like about this like the DAO thing or the council, whatever it is. Like I just think we need like more people that share the same vision and are reasonable enough that we can talk about, that are not going to discard these crazy ideas straight away, that like as long as you can show like, oh look, like how can we build, like is it viable, and if it is, okay, let's talk about it and let's do it, like let's get our hands dirty and get the thing working. Yeah, but yeah, anyway, I think you wanted to shift to Splinterlands as well. We can do that.
Very, very loosely. And first, it sounds like icky. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a meme coin come out with the token trading name as IKKI. That feels catchy. But yeah, with regards to Splinterlands, man, I've always admired your mind for coming up with game design suggestions and how do we prevent or solve a lot of the issues that we've seen in the past. And so I want to draw on your learning experience throughout the design of OKKO and see where especially with respect to the big name at the moment and the big project at the moment is new player experience, and how is Splinterlands going to achieve a massive onboarding of new players and therefore subsequently a big influx of new cash, and assets are moving off the shelves and the market is thriving, and all of these, we've got big aspirations for what Splinterlands can accomplish. So I want to look at, or I want you to look at your experience kind of building OKKO and trying to get in front of people and have conversations, and whether it's from the Lion King or Coco Melon or wherever, what, and at the biggest picture, you called it the God's eye view earlier. I love that expression. That's going to be the thumbnail right there. So yeah, I just want to kind of pick your brain, GB, on how should Splinterlands be approaching the new player experience. We've heard kind of a few different schools of thought, one being we can slowly integrate and interoperate brand new players within the current ecosystem is kind of one school of thought. The other is they should be separate silos that have a bridge between the two that would ultimately allow for and encourage folks to come from the protected silo that is new players and that new game mode into splinterlands.com. So yeah, I just threw a whole bunch at you, but why don't we see where you run with it there, GB?
Okay, I think I'll start with what I mentioned in the. We managed to do that one, the People's Guild challenge there, which was the suggestions for the new player experience, and it was like highlighted to say like forgot the exact word that was used, but basic, I think it was like easy wins or like easy to implement. And our suggestion was basically, okay, like I think we just need like to simplify a bit. There was some improvements in the area, I think, in Splinterlands, but I think it's still a very convoluted game. It definitely needs a lot of simplification. I think if you really, and I'm seeing that with OKKO, man, like all the time. I guess we as a developers, like we get a bit numb, right? We think, oh, the game is pretty intuitive, right? And then you put like in front of somebody else, and they're like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is this? What is that?
Oh, icky.
Yeah, well, yeah, this game, yeah, Iki for sure. Like, I know why you named your game Iki. Like, it cannot understand anything. But yeah, so I think like it needs to be simplified, like as I don't think it needs to be dumbed down, right? I don't think I don't agree, for example, of this like hand holding tutorial saying like I don't know if I'm there is, man, like one of my favorite videos of all time, probably like definitely top 10 YouTube. Like there is a called Mega Man Sequelitis. It's like probably like a 10-year-old video of like, man, like it's a game development course in like 10 minutes. Like the game the video is nuts. Like it's so good. Like anybody into game design should watch this video. Period. Like it's mandatory. Like so yeah, if you want to search if you put like Sequelitis Mega Man on Google, please watch this. Even if you're not into game design, it's just super entertaining. If you're just into gaming at all, I really recommend that. So why I mentioned that is because like one of the things saying like you just need to teach the people how to play by actually playing the game instead of having these like tutorials saying like click here and the flashing lights saying click there and then say like hello, this is the command center, you are the astronaut, you need to do whatever like that. Like no, but like who reads that? Like for real, like you ever read any of these tutorials? I think you just skip through that and then you don't understand anything and then you come back anyway. You're still gonna struggle when the game actually starts anyway. So I don't think that's the way to go as well. I think it's kind of like this between like you just need to simplify, but then you have like this very and I'm not saying it's easy. Actually, it's pretty hard. But like to have this design where you teach the player how to play the game by actually playing the game. So that's one. Another thing that actually I promise. Okay, I'll make a video this week. I think there is this PvE mode that I think Splinterlands could very easily integrate. And I know it's like I actually know like I know how like I implemented that, so I know how easy it is to implement, and I'll show all the technical things, and even if the maybe even the DAO decides like to again like just give it a shot. I think that's one way to do it. And another suggestion, which will be in this case like very different from OKKO, because I think you need to lean on your strong suit, right? So in the case of Splinterlands, the whole game is to have these cards, right? Like that's the whole design is like there's not enough for everybody. Like you put all these cards in a pile in the middle of the room and everybody needs to fight tooth and nail for those cards to get the rewards, right? Like, and that's the design. I think I think Splinter, even though for example OKKO is completely different design than that. Like I say, like there's every card there's like an infinite supply. Of course there are some mechanics to deal with that, mainly that exponential curve that I told you before. But point being is that if you're gonna go with the scarce cards, I think you go heavy with that. So like having I think it's like more maybe like some very big exclusive card that like ideally it shouldn't just be buying, but like something that you can buy you can get through gameplay. But like yes, like you know like oh that person like oh Bjangles have that crazy tank, like only he have that tank, and like has that crazy card that only he can heal, that heals like for this unique. So in this specific niche, like you have that card, right? I think that's and then of course like everybody has their own thing. I think that would be the way as well to attract new players, like so they can see this like that you kind of like you express kind of like this skill expression, but also through ownership of these scarce cards. And by the way, I still think they need to fix the like how these packs work, right? Because like right now, okay, you want to have scarce cards, and then you have scarce cards for a particular player base, and now the player base shrinks. Now the cards are very abundant, or the player base increases, and now the cards are way more scarce than you wanted it to be. So I I don't like. I mean, I think it's okay to have the scarce cards, but I think it needs to be dynamic. So it needs to have like some elastic mechanism to match the scarcity for the amount of players. So, for example, like in musical chairs, like you man, why I keep doing this like kids reference? Like not, but
It's a good analogy. No, I get it.
yeah,
That's a
but
good one.
musical chairs, like you have like 10, I don't know, like you have 10 people, so then okay, you put like 8 chairs, right? And it's so if you have 20 people, you don't put like just 8 chairs, you probably have like 12 or 15, whatever, right? But like it is dynamic, right? So, and I don't think we don't really have that in Splinterlands. Like, so Splinterlands, the company guesses a number of packs, and it is what it is. I think one suggestion, again, like they probably know better than I do, but like one suggestion, like maybe fix that. Ideally, like yeah, maybe like you can maybe packs are always available, and then you can keep buying more, but then the price keeps increasing, and then maybe you can burn the packs. Let's say if you burn one legendary, one epic, one rare, one common cards, and then you get the value of the pack back, right? And then if the player base is not like aligning, right? So let's say if you cannot really like rent out these cards, now it's probably worth for you to turn them back into a pack, right? So I mean, again, like I'm not saying don't implement this idea, but I'm just saying like something that whatever makes it dynamic. Yeah, this would be my suggestion. But to be honest, again, like I don't. Mostly I'm waiting to see, because again, like Matt has a very clear, like he's focused, like he has a very clear vision where they're going. Now they have a Blaze Coast, right? Like with the marketing thing, and I'm actually optimistic. I'm just okay. Let's wait and see what. I don't think we need to try anything else before we actually see what Matt is cooking, right? If whatever Matt is cooking it doesn't work, then okay, then we try some different stuff.
Well, you present yourself as you've called it called it out a couple of times, GB, that you're an arrogant bastard, but you serve up your ideas with a bunch of humility, man. Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing your PvE video. Do you want to give a quick little walkthrough, or do you want us to point to YouTube and just keep our eyes peeled for when you're posting it?
I mean, I mean, I can explain I mean, how they say, like a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So I'm probably not gonna say so much, but yeah, just Games on the Block on YouTube. I expect like a video, I guess, this week. But for now, I guess I'll just summarize real quick. So it's kind of, I mean, you've probably played some games. I think Hearthstone had a mode similar to that. I think it was called Dungeon Run, something like that. I don't know. Where you go up go up the levels, right? And you're just building your deck, right? So I'll use specific for Splinterlands, right? So let's say you start a new run, and then you present it with I don't know, 5 different summoners that you can choose from, right? And then I don't know, like you go there and you pick Dalan, right? Everyone, maybe
Nice.
in this mode, Dalan is good.
There you go. Nice. This is why he gets invited back, folks.
We can dream. Yes.
Now, like okay, and then so you start, and then you pick whatever, like you pick 2 neutral cards and then 2 death cards, right? And then you start the run, like they're all at level 1, right? And then you're facing your opponent, and then the opponent is pretty weak, like he's just I don't know, like he's just gonna play some like a chicken, right? And of course you're gonna beat the chicken, but it gives you time to read, like okay, like now you're not dealing with all these cards, right? You, instead of you going to a ranked match and you have like hundreds of cards available, like no, you're looking at whatever, like 4-5 cards. in your face. Like that's all you need to handle, right? That's all you as a new player. That's all the complexity that you need to handle. You look at these specific abilities like this, the mana cap, like is easy to digest, right? And you beat the chicken again. Like if you just place any card there, you're gonna beat the chicken. Now you go to stage 2, and now it's like it's not a chicken anymore. It's like whatever, like weirding warrior, and then it's like it doesn't like that's the point. Like it doesn't even need to make sense because like it's not designed. It's randomly done by a computer, right? So, for example, the weirding warrior is a ranged card, and it is placed in the first position. And again, like now you're reading a card that is slightly more complex, but it's still gonna lose, like, because like it's still gonna win. Sorry, it's still gonna win because like the weirding warrior is not even gonna attack you, right? But or whatever it is, like it's very unlikely for you to lose. And then you keep progressing that, and like every time you progress, you are presented an option either to choose a new card or to level up your existing card, right? And then so you see, like you're still dealing with only, so you started with 4 cards. Now you choose a new card, but like it's only 5 cards. You can see, and you know the 4 cards already. So now you all your focus is learning this new card, right? And or you just level up a card that you already have. So it's just like you just know, like, oh, okay, you got 1 extra health. Cool. Like, and you can see the progression of the cards. You can play with the cards progression without having to put money there. Like, so you can get a feeling from all the cards, and you can see not only like the cards, but also like their progression, right? So you can see like, oh, I actually like this card. Like that's probably I'm gonna be buying this spec, so I'm gonna try to buy these cards because like that's the one that that works, right? And then it can always make fun. For example, I don't know, every 3 stages you get presented a legendary card, or maybe 3 stages you get an epic card, maybe 5 stages you get a legendary card, whatever. Like, so you can have these things, and then you have the leaderboard, right? So whoever gets to the highest stage can get some crypto rewards, right? Again, in this case, it's still fairly easy to bot, but now that I think we're like completely set on soulbound cards and glint. Okay, just give like new players a bunch of glint or some soulbound cards, like for people that get high in the leaderboard. So, and technically speaking, the reason this is easy to implement is because like it's exactly the same game. Like it's the same team selection screen, it's the same battle screen. Actually, like in technically speaking, like you request like the same battle, right? And you just need this like extra page, and it's probably like one database. Again, I don't know exactly how Splinterlands is set, but like you basically just need to keep track of the run of the player, right? So saying like, okay, this is the cards that he has available on this run, and whatever. You can add some perks, some gifts. Like you can build upon that, but like the base thing is pretty easy to do. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like maybe even the DAO can say like, okay, just get somebody, pay them to just create this page, and this and hook up the with these like runs in the database, and then bam, like you have yourself a PvE game, and that I don't know. I personally I love it. I think it's really fun. Maybe some people hate it, but like I think it's such a no-brainer. We should at least try. Like, man, like again, like this is like not joking. Like this is like a two-day job. Make it 2 weeks because it always takes longer than expected. Double that because why not? Like, okay, like you can get like a PV mode. Like, sure, it's not gonna be like the land thing with the bosses and everything, but like you can get even if you just use like, maybe it's not that great, okay, but like we can just use that like for an event, right? Like the DAO can pay that to build this mode. We have this event, and like whoever gets to highest in the run and the leaderboard, like gets some promo card, like whatever. Like it's I think it's such an asymmetrical risk. Like it basically costs nothing, and the upside is so great. Yeah. Anyway, I'll make a video so we can actually like see visually what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's one idea.
Well, that timeline was spoken like a true dev. GB, you went from 2 days to 2 weeks to a month. in literally 2 seconds.
I'm being realistic. Like, no, I mean, this is because like I had OKKO, right? So, like the whole mechanics, everything was set, right? So like just this is what took me to create this mode in particular. Like, okay, like I'm just gonna do this mode where you go up these levels. Like it took 2 days, but because I already have everything in place. And my point is like Splinterlands already has everything in place, so I don't see why would be that much difference. Like, of course, like, and that's what, the reason that I'm not saying 2 days and I'm saying 1 month. First, like, again, because like it takes longer. And sure, like Splinterlands, it's already like a established game, like, and it needs to be like tested really properly because like there is already like assets on the line and everything. But my point being is that it's not like this super complex thing. It is very simple. I think I don't know. I expect like if you do like this with the DAO, I don't know, like the guys from Peak Monsters that use the same. I think it was a maybe not the same or a very similar stack that Splinterlands use. Like they would do this like instantly.
Well, look forward to the video. Expect some requests for a quote on your time, GB.
No, I'm not doing that. I told like it's a different. I use a different stack than Splinterlands, but I mean I could do it, but like I don't even think it should because I would just take a lot longer than people that are already good with that stack, i.e.
Yeah, like you said,
all this other,
Asgarth and Jarvie are more than capable.
Yeah, they summon like they create the stuff like boom, like super fast. Like I'm very
overnight.
impressed.
Yeah, man, that team is awesome. They continue to churn out cool stuff that really benefits the Splinterlands ecosystem. But all right, GB. Well, a lot of fun as always, man. We love having you on here at TPG. You're always welcome back. Let us know when you want to come and talk more OKKO. We'll plug all the links. Shoot me a message with everything that you want included in our Peak D report, and we'll make sure that you get the proper addresses plugged in there. In the meantime, any big dates coming up for OKKO specifically that we should keep an eye out for?
I mean, we're already like in alpha technically, and we're already in the pre-sale as well. We don't have any dates in particular for the rewards for alpha, but we're definitely gonna make a post pretty soon because like again, like we just at this point we're just now there are more people start playing the game. We're just trying to make it getting all the bugs, like making it a bit more stable. But like as soon as it's stable, we will be actually like starting like giving out crypto rewards. So I think people who actually like enjoy playing the game and actually and getting the rewards from Hive Engine. So again, don't have a specific date, but it's just because we're gonna be rolling out slowly in the sense like we're not just gonna give like crypto rewards for every single mode. We're probably gonna start, for example, with this PV mode that is like pretty simple to do, and then move on to the PvP one and so on. But like they all gonna be done like in these next weeks and months. The goal is to be on beta definitely in Q1. So, and by beta I mean like the game should be stable, and again with all the crypto rewards and everything like and have trading enable as well. But again, like I don't have a date, but just yes, like a lot of things gonna be happening all the time for the next quarter, let's say.
Nice. Excited to check it out.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, everybody.
So if you just yeah,
ahead,
so if
GB.
you want to play,
I forget we're on your show. We're on your show. Sorry, man.
You're excused. Yeah, I'm joking. Just saying that. Yeah. So if you wanna try out the game, yeah, you can join our Discord. Like there, we have a playlist now. We're still building, just showing how kind of like this new player experience. So we have the video showing how to install the game, how to play, how the battle mechanics work. Like next, we're just gonna be have the more about the tokenomics and everything. But yeah, so yeah, if you want to try it out, come Discord server and just to last again, like I want to shout out to the more that he's such an important piece now. I think the game and the whole project is now like 10 times better because like it's not just me going cuckoo all around. Like it's more organized. Like we have like multiple brains thinking, and again we hope like to see more people joining. Again, don't necessarily need to join all the way, but like yeah, we want to see like people playing the game, having fun, like testing out, like making suggestions, reporting bugs, creating cards, like creating areas for the game. Yes, that's it. Now finally, okay, back to
Nice.
to you.
Okay, everybody. Well, yeah, as always, a lot of fun hanging out with GB. Fun hearing the fruits of this guy's mind with respect to game design, and looking forward to seeing what pans out with OKKO and bigger picture in the Web3 space. If there's stuff worth tugging a little bit further and seeing how it pans out across the industry. GB, appreciate your mind, man. Appreciate your time. Go enjoy. It sounds like you're queued up for all the talk of Lion King. I know what your afternoon is going to look like. Go get another viewing. But yeah, all right, everybody. We will be back later in the week. We got Lilyfire coming on from the support squad over at Team Splinterlands. Be sure to tune in to that one, episode 122. Yeah, you have been listening to
The People's Guild.